I listen to 80s channels, like 80s music, but this morning I listened to some of the 70s music. And there Casey Kasem was doing the best top 40 hits of 1970, well, this week 1971. Number 15 was Amazing Grace.
Oh, really?
By Judy Collins.
Oh, really? Hey, Judy Collins.
Oh, really? I didn't know who she was.
Oh, yeah.
You know how we do the ICA guy? You can do the same thing with equity and income funding. So, yeah, so this fund, I know y'all are not licensed yet, but this is a good fund because you cannot hurt a client by putting them in.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It's a good long-term fund. It's been around since 1960.
If I may, if you don't know what else to put them in, put them in this. And, you know, you can move to another fund without any charge when you decide, right, this.
But so there's some great things in this brochure here. If you look at page 3, one of the things it shows you that's pretty interesting is it shows you inflation. It shows you what the cost of a postage stamp was. In 1965, it was 5 cents. 1975 was 10 cents. 1985 was 22 cents. And 95 was 32, 37, 46, 55. I think it's higher than that now. It isn't 3. What's it cost?
I think it was 69. You might be. I got a bunch of forever stamps. I have no idea.
About 67 or something. I was on them. I wanted to read that.
In 1965, just a nipple.
Oh, it was 5 cents forever.
Yeah.
I mean, for
decades.
decades. It sat at 5 cents.
It started off at a penny, went to 3 cents for a while. It was at 5 cents for a long, long time.
Long.
We're looking at page 3 of your hymnal. It's going in 1965, postage stamps were 5 cents, and by 2020 they were 55 cents. And you can see inception was 8/3/60, and you can see without sales charge, the return on this fund has been 10.19% since inception. With the sales, maximum sales charge, 10.09%. But right below that, let's say under the 25-year thing, you see where it says 0.68. Okay, and you look to that, it says beta. A beta of 1 means you're as aggressive or as volatile as the stock market. So this has a beta of 0.68, so it's 32% less risky than the stock market, but it has outperformed the stock market the last 60 years with 32% less risk. 1 is what the S&P 500 beta is. Okay, 1 is how risky or volatile the market is. And so this fund has a 0.68 beta. So the difference between 1 and 0.68 is 0.32, which is 32%. So 32% less risk in this fund, but the same return as the S&P 500. If you go to page 4, this is the what we call the
Look, Trump.
quilt chart. This fund is never the best fund of the year. It's never the worst fund of the year. If you notice, this fund is this blue box right here where it performed among. This is the top performing investments and the bottom performing investments year by year. Okay. And then they show you the fund. This fund always seems to be right towards the middle. So a lot of times the best performing investment one year is one of the worst performing investments the next year. You look at above that where the pie chart is, you can see that this fund has 57%, nearly 58% U.S. stocks. It's got international stocks, it's got international bonds, it's got cash, it's got convertibles. You know what a convertible is? A convertible is a really important investment. So a convertible bond is like when Home Depot, the perfect example is Home Depot. There were people here in Atlanta that were going door to door selling Home Depot bonds. And you pay $1,000 for that Home Depot bond. And it paid, let's say, 6% interest rate. But what you could do is you could later turn your bond, which, how much does the bond typically cost? What's the par value of any bond?
$1,000?
That's it.
What'd you say?
$1,000?
That's right. But when you look at it on a chart, what does it look like it costs? At 98, okay. So what does that mean? It means that bond's trading at $980. No, par value of every bond is $1,000. So they'd sell these bonds, and you could buy them and pay the interest rate. But then you could, at some point, you could convert it for 20 shares of Home Depot stock. So when Home Depot stock was over $50 a share, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could get the price of the stock was worth more than the bond, right? So what's great about a convertible bond is you get to play both sides of the fence. You get to hold the bond with the interest on it until you decide that that it's worth it better to own the stock than it is to earn the interest. So you can convert the bond for the stock. What does a bond represent to a company? If I decide I want to issue a bond, what am I doing? So why would I issue a bond because of a project I want to do? All I'm trying to do is I don't have the money.
Yeah, you're trying to get the money.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's right. I don't have the money. It's like if you buy a house. Okay, anything a company wants or any institution that needs money, they're going to borrow the money. Borrow. Okay, so what they're doing is they're saying I don't have the money, so I'm going to find all these people out here that are willing to give me $1,000 each, and I'll pay them 6% interest on this $1,000. So I can borrow the money from these investors, and I'll pay them interest. That's what you're doing.
Okay.
You issue a bond. Okay, if you have a company that has bonds issued, and you have that same company has stock issued, and let's say they have $10 million in bonds issued, and they have 10 million shares of stocks issued, and they go out and they have financial problems, who do they have the highest priority to pay first? Bonds, preferred stocks, and then you got common stocks. Okay, but they're the ones that can make the most money because they're willing to accept the risk
Get the risk.
of the volatility of the stock. Let's say you buy a bond for $1,000, and it has a coupon rate of 6%. 2 months later, interest rates go up, and that same company issues a bond for 7.2%. So they issued a bond, $1,000, 6% interest. Then they're going to pay a 6% coupon rate. A month later, they say we're going to issue another set of bonds for $1,000 a piece at 7.2% interest. What happens to the ones that are issued at 6%? And what price do they go to? Am I happy I issued a bunch of bonds at 6%, and now a month later I have to issue at 7.2%? I'm happy because I'm paying a lot less interest to my bondholders because I'm only having to pay them 6%, right?
Uh-huh.
But my newest investors that bought the next set of bonds at 7.2%, okay, are they? So I'm paying them 7.2. But how do the other bondholders feel that now I'm paying somebody 7.2 and you're only getting 6? So what happens to the price of the bonds that were issued at 6%? Do I want to buy yours at 6%, or would I rather buy hers at 7.2? What happens to the price of the bonds that were sold for $1,000 a piece that now the interest rate is 6%? What happens to that price in that bond? Go up or down? Because now her bond is worth less, and her yield has for me to get the same yield. Your yield is your bond costs $1,000 as a 7.2 yield.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hers was issued at $1,000 at 6%.
Mm-hmm.
For her bond to have the same yield as your bond, it would have to go down to $800. The yield is now 8% of, 20% less. If you give a 20% premium to the product, what's 20% of 6? 1.2, right? So 1.2 plus 6 is 7.2, right? So that means the bond had to drop to $800 instead of being $1,000. The current yield goes up when the bond price goes down. Her yield is 7.2 and yours was 6 a month ago. Yours had to drop to $800 a bond, which is a 20% drop. So are you happy now your $1,000 bond you can only get $800 for it. So can you lose money in bonds just as easy as a stock? Absolutely. When the interest rates are volatile, matter of fact, that's what's happened over the last couple of years here in the United States. So you can lose as much money in bonds as you can in stock. Okay, so the key is just know that if interest rates go up, bond prices go down. If interest rates go down, bond prices go up. The combination that historically has had the best performance, which is what this fund is the 60-40. 60% stocks, 40% bonds, has the highest percentage chance of lasting the longest period of time through volatile markets. Yeah, well, actually, and the one that probably performed better than ACEIX is ACEIX.
Comstock.
Yeah, which are both ACEIX and ACEIX are large cap value funds. Okay. The reason I'm putting people in ACEIX is I'm hoping, maybe I'm hoping incorrectly, that interest rates are going to come down on page 7. So you can see Bank of America is the top holding of this fund, right? So it represents 2.39% of all the money in this fund. If you had $10,000 in here, and tomorrow morning we wake up and Bank of America is completely out of business, how much money did you lose? $239, which is hardly anything, right? So that's what's great about mutual funds is you're highly diversified. So you can see on the far left, this fund started in 1960. If you would have put $10,000 in this fund on August 31st, 1960, and what was the end value of this fund in 1970? So you put in 10, and 10 years later it's worth $25,990. Even though the market was flat, you got to know from 1962 to 1982, the market did not go over 1,000. We had the Berlin Wall go up, we had Kennedy assassinated, we had Martin Luther King assassinated, and you still more than doubled your money. Then from 70 to 80, what happened? Well, we had Watergate, we had Nixon resign, we had the Vietnam War going on, and we had USSR in Afghanistan. How novel. Okay, what's the value of your $10,000 in 1980? So you doubled again, right? From 80 to 90, what happened? Well, we had unemployment the year after I graduated from high school, 9.7%. What happened in 1987? I was there. That was my first day. October 1987, the market falls 22% in one day.
Black Monday.
Black Monday.
Chaos panic that day.
Yeah, it sure was. We had a very similar thing happen on May the 6th, 2010.
The flash crash. Dow dropped nearly 9% in a matter of minutes.
So by 1990, what's your $10,000 worth? You went from 1960, put $10,000 in there, and 30 years later, you didn't add anything to it. It's worth $193,134. This is the kind of fund you just put your clients in it, leave it alone. One of my clients retired. This is one of my favorite funds to put my clients in when they're retiring. Because I can put them in there, they can do a 5% withdrawal for the retirement money they need, and it lasts them forever. So what happened from 1990 to 2000? Probably not uneventful, right? We had Gulf War. We had the Asian stock market crash in 1997. So by 2000, what was your $10,000 worth? So now you got nearly $1 million in 40 years with a $10,000 investment. From 2000 to 2010 is known as what? It's a lost decade Wall Street.
Is that what they're calling a bear market?
Yeah. Yep. What does bear market? Does it mean a bear market? Does that mean the market's going up or down?
Yeah. Bears down.
How do you remember that?
I remember they gave an example. Bullish is up. The horn, for example, the bullish is up, and the bear, the claws are down.
He falls on top. Yeah, sure. He's coming down. Right. So by 2010, what's your $10,000 worth? And then 10 years later, by 2020, what's your $10,000 worth? And nothing happened in the 2000s. Let's see, we had coronaviruses, we had old private market in 2014 go by down 50%. We had all kinds of different things. You're putting your union issues still. So the moral of the story is if you put your money in a good fund like this and just leave it alone,
Wow.
you'll do well. But Shepherd Stories did the bigger one, the one that's, and it's good because it shows the Shepherds put $10,000 in 1972, and they're taking out 4%. No, they put $100,000 in 1972, and they're taking 4% a year out. And it shows that after from 1972 to 2022, they take out like $400,000 or $500,000 over that course of time, but their account's still worth over $2 million. What the moral story is you don't know which client you have that might be a teeny client that has less than $1,000 with you. Wakes up one day, looks at their statement, and sees they made 41%, and realizes they're going to retire, and they need to roll over their 401k. They're going to call you and roll that money over with you.
Yeah, because they've seen the results that you got with a smaller amount, and they trust you at this point.
Yeah.
So.
And let somebody at the bank talk her into investing it into a CD,
Oh.
make it 0.25%, instead of calling Betty and going, hey, I got this money. Wow. My grandma would be a millionaire right now if that money hadn't sat in that CD for 25 years.
I'm glad.
The bottom line is your clients don't know what they're doing.
That's true.
I think every 12-year-old to 15-year-old needs to go to another country. You have a way better appreciation of what life is like when you go to see how other people live.
Yeah.
And people don't have a concept of how the vast majority of the people in the world live compared to how we live. We live like kings. I mean, when I went to Romania, and that was in 1996, the capital of Romania, which is Bucharest, only had hot water 4 hours during the day. You didn't know what 4 hours. When you went to take a bath, you didn't know whether you could get hot water or not. I think Bahamas is every bit as pretty as Hawaii.
Wow.
And it's only 2 hours away. The landscape of Hawaii is something you gotta see, right? Like from the big island of Hawaii, I think there's a total of, in the world, there's a total of 13 climates. 11 of the 13 climates are on that one island in the same day. Like, I have a picture of Stacy. It's a screen shot I have on my computer. She's standing with her bare feet on the beach, and over her shoulder is a snow-capped mountain. There's jungles, there's deserts, so it's worth doing that. But as far as the beaches and stuff, you can see just as pretty in the
Bahamas.
In Atlanta, in South Africa, 15 and a half hours. I lose a whole day. You leave here in Atlanta at 10:30 at night, and you land the next day at 8:30 in the evening. What I do is I watch lots of movies, and I hang out with flight attendants in the back and eat snacks.
I saw one last night, plane ran out of fuel at 42,000 feet.
What?
Ground crew messed up.
They did.
They were supposed to put X amount of
kilograms
of fuel.
Was that air disasters? Was that air disasters?
Nah, just I read it. The guy was an experienced pilot. I was able to get it in.
That was on the air disaster, and I watched that.
But the ground crew put pounds of fuel instead of kilograms of fuel.
And he glided in a 747 for miles and landed that thing safely. Had to land that plane with no engines safely on an island. He was way over the ocean. He had to find the closest island to land on. He had to do a circle around to get the speed down enough so he could land it safely, and he did it.
He did it? Wow.
That's what they pay pilots big bucks for.
Oh.
That's what a true. Most pilots nowadays are not pilots.
Oh, okay.
He was a pilot.
Yeah.
Sully was a pilot.
Yeah.
A lot of these pilots they're trained not to even touch the stick.
Nope.
By taking off or landing. They have to push a button and it takes off for them.
Oh, wow, they're trained different. Okay.
Well, they trained
because they save money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I don't know what happened to that plane that flipped upside down. It was coming down. How did they crash upside? How was the whole
I saw a video of
Well, they showed a very similar, they showed an accident happened in Somalia.
It was an all-woman crew or something like
Well,
that.
there was a Somalia flight that happened very similar to that. And what it was,
I said, we didn't have to.
right as that Somalia plane was landing, a sharp wind from one side flipped that.
I was gonna say,
like
it had to be a wind to flip
and
it.
it flipped it over.
I'm like, those people, I've got how many on board, they were all upside down, and they were trying to get stuff. I'm like, no, leave your stuff, get out of here.
Get
They
out.
were trying to get their luggage and stuff out. You're hanging upside down, that close to death, and you're worried about getting your stuff off the plane. Oh, God. I'm like, how did that happen? Because I still can't figure out how all those people died. How could that military helicopter fly directly into, how could they not see each other? I just don't get it.
I don't know what the results gonna be on that, but I think it was poor, air traffic control.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's what
I think that was
want
fair.
back to air traffic.
I think that's
control.
failure on the air traffic control group. Because they're supposed to keep them apart.
Yeah.
That's their
A
job.
lot of people died that day, and they were landing, they said, they were just about to land, and they lost their lives.
Well,
I thought
they changed the runway it was gonna land on. That's one of the things that caused the problem.
Oh, they converted that plane that was landing from the runway, it was originally.
See, originally it was gonna land on runway 1, which is north to south. But at the last minute, they told them to go on the south side, land at south, go north, and that's when they intersected with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so somebody got a video of that too.
Yeah.
It looks like helicopters deliberately.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying, it's like deliberately
Right.
making to that
Straight
plane.
shot right with that.
Oh, really?
Big flash.
I tell you, people got cameras on all the time.
I know.
At every angle.
I know.
That plane that's, like you're saying, that flipped over, there was another plane sitting and videotaped the whole thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
everybody got cameras on all the time. And then the one that flipped it, then there's somebody that was in the plane taking video of him leaving the plane. So, I mean, yeah, nowadays you get every angle of everything that ever
you
happened.
gotta know, you never know.
What happens to the stock price when they pay a dividend? Does the stock price go up or down?
When they pay a dividend, you have to pay more dividend, it goes down, right?
Penny stock will have a big, okay, the difference between the bid and ask is known as the what? Spread. So if it has a bid price of 10 cents and an ask price of 20 cents, the difference is a 10-cent spread, right? Okay, so if I'm buying the stock, this stock, I'm gonna pay 20 cents, but it has a 10-cent bid. Okay, now why is it? Because the IPO or the market maker of the stock has it at 10 cents. He's selling it 20 cents. He gets the firm makes the difference. So they're making 100% on their money when they sell you that stock at 20 cents a share.
Yeah.
Okay, but the investor wants the bid price to move over 20 cents a share, because then if they sell, then that means let's say the bid goes from 10 cents to 25 cents, and the ask goes to 30 cents. So now he can sell it at 25. He bought it at 10, it went to 25. Bid, ask, 10 cents, 20 cents. Difference between the two is 10. So if I buy this stock, I'm going to pay 20. But if I sell it that same day, I'm only going to get 10 for it. So I have to wait for the bid to move up to make money. So if the bid goes to 25 and the ask goes to, let's say, 35, has the spread changed? But if I bought it at 20, right? Now, if I sell it, I can sell it at 25. But if I bought it today, what will I pay for it? Will I pay 25 or 35? I pay 35. You always pay the ask price. If I sell it, I get the bid price. That's what I did as a stockbroker. That's when I was 23. I was making 10 grand a month, even 160 million.
Million, okay.
So that means 0.25%,
Oh, it's not 0.25.
and then 0.62 of that is what.
That's 248,000.
So if I do nothing, I make over 250,000. If you have a managed account license, you get 1%. So I have right at $19 million, 190,000.
Yeah.
And then 190,000 times 0.62 is what? 117.8. So I make 117,000 just off the maintenance account.
Okay.
And so the more that those accounts grow, the more money you get paid. Your income's a jump, you went to RVP.
Eric has graciously has it set up so that you can get promoted without building a big team.
Right.
But you cannot get promoted in Primerica without recruiting and training.
That's right.
You have to recruit some people, and you've got to get somebody. Glenn Williams talks about he says we get down to 3 or 4 fundamentals. You recruit them, you field train them, you license them,
You feed
them. Field train them.
Field train. You don't feed them.
Yeah.
You do feed them something.
Yeah, that's good. You recruit them, you field train them, you license them, you promote them.
You absolutely do need to recruit people, and the best way to do it is bring them here on Saturday morning. You really want to have 5 good people on your team, because you know nearly no one's going to do what they say they're going to do.
That's true.
But they will do some. They won't do as much as they say they're going to, but some will do some. I have a lot of clients that I have today that are not clients I knew. They came from recruits that are no longer in the business. It absolutely works if you work. The key is most people are not willing to work hard enough or long enough period of time to make it be successful. Now, but even if you work at it slightly and you work at it some, you will make more money than you can make at a typical job.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to make $400,000, $1 million, whatever a year, you got to work at it. Any business you can think of, you have to put forth the same effort.
You gotta work your butt off, yeah. You
For
gotta
the
work.
first amount of time. The thing I like about Primerica though, and about my business, is I work my tail off for a long time. But now, I've got enough assets built now that I can live off. I make enough money from the residuals of the accounts I work with, and I work some.
You've done it.
But if I owned a restaurant, that'd never be the case.
Yeah, you
Okay.
gotta keep going.
I have to wait, make sure people eat my food every day, right? If you have a
Right.
restaurant, it never changes. What I love about what we do is my clients are dramatically more wealthy than the one I started.
Where are you finding?
They're
million-dollar
everywhere.
clients?
Yeah, they're everywhere. 300,000. Everybody's got 300,000 on the 401k.
That's the norm probably, right at
Yeah.
300,000.
3 to 500.
Wow. Do you get a lot of your business too by referral, word of mouth?
Yeah, but what I'm saying but you're helping people. People don't believe it works because I don't know why, but it does. If you work it, it will.